Everyone. Today we are going to talk about understanding the agile methodology. We will go into detail of this and try to understand what is the agile methodology. Companies always wants to embrace this idea of delivering business value early. And why? They want to lower their risks. There are some of the key benefits that know why agile should be implemented. It's transparent to everyone. Stakeholders are heavily involved in this. We produced value to the end customer early. High product quality is achieved as a part of this. Customers satisfied. There are reduced risks and faster ROI. Within Agile, we have different methodologies like Scrum, Extreme Programming, Kanban, and FDD. We will talk about the overall Agile in this short video. What is Scrum? As the picture depicts, it starts with the visions, user story, sprint planning, product backlog. There are various ceremonies like daily scrum, daily stand up, sprint retrospectives, sprint review, which we'll talk in detail later. But try to understand the scrum is. What is scrum? Scrum is a process that allows software development team to focus on delivering business values in shortest time. And at the end of it, the customer is getting a working software every sprint. Of course, sprint is a time box for 2 to 4 weeks, wherein each sprint is producing some value in terms of working software to the end customer. It also, within the Scrum, we also see that there are self-organized teams, there are cross-functional teams who work together for a duration of 2 to 4 week sprint and produce the working software as an output. It's an iterative development because each sprint we produce the working agreement, take the feedback from customer, work on the feedback, and then produce the updated working software in the next sprint. Time boxing is a key feature within this Scrum so that each of the ceremonies can be time boxed and we focus mainly on the productivity of the team and to produce value to the end customer. That's overall the Scrum. Let's explore what is Kanban. As the picture depicts, the Kanban board is kind of a swim lane wherein it's an easy depiction of how work is moving from one swim lane to other. So if you see this, you know how it is moving from backlog to do activities and development ongoing progress, whether it's done, testing is ongoing, done, deployed, or done. So it will show us that how a story or a task on the board, on the Kanban board, is going through all these stages. So let's try to understand what is Kanban board. Kanban board, it's a visual representation of the tasks. In the Kanban cards, we can see for each and every individual that how many tasks are there, how they are progressing over a period of time. And that's the reason Kanban swim lanes are designed. What are Kanban swim lanes? In the Kanban swim lanes, we find out that what is the current state of the task. We talk about a lot of status report. We don't need status report in Agile. While just looking at the Kanban board, we can see that how many tasks are being taken by any associate and it is in what state. Do they need help? And other than Kanban swim lanes, it is important to understand the work in progress limits, which are highlighted as 2, 3, 2, and 1 here. Why these limits are important? Mostly it's seen that associates or within that swim lane, the tasks keep on piling up. So if there are more than, let's say, 2 tasks in the to-do list, what would associate focus on? So that's the reason the concept of WIP limits. They maximize, basically wherein we maximize the amount of tasks that can exist within swim lane. So for in this example, To-do list cannot have more than 2 tasks, because if you have 10 tasks in the developer bucket for in the to-do, how would he prioritize? So it's a good idea to apply the WIP limits for each swim lane so that we find out the effectiveness of that swim lane. So we know that no, there cannot be more than 3 either ongoing or done development in progress. That's the basically WIP limit for development. For example, testing, 2 WIP limits of 2. So what may happen as a part of that is that if there are more than 2 testing stories or tasks within the developer bucket, then teams stands together to divide the work so that they can take it from their bucket. What is extreme programming? As a part of extreme programming, we pair up. We pair up for code, for review, for unit testing. And in this, as we said in the overall agile as well, that the features are not taken until unless they're actually needed. So that basically talks about the priority. But main feature is that no developers work in the pair programming. They not only develop the unit test in the pair programming, and everything is done in the pair programming model. And then it's not only that, it develops some good culture within the team, listening, designing, feedback, courage, respect. So basically in this extreme programming, developers work together for each and every part of the product, and then they develop and work features only when they are actually needed. Functional driven development or the behavior driven development. This is another part of the agile, wherein if we follow this methodology, what we do is that we add the test first. We have seen in the waterfall that we do requirement analysis, design analysis, development, and then we do the testing. But this behavior driven development or the functional driven development or test driven development, it basically starts with the test. So you, after looking at your requirement, you add the test first, and then you code as per the test, and then you see that no whether that when whatever code you have done, whether that test is failing or passing. If it is failing, you write the code again, and then you run the test refactor. So it goes in the loop. Test is the origination for writing the code. You write the code to pass that test. If it is not passing, you refactor your code and go into the cycle. So basically, it is developed as per the acceptance tests, which are developed as a part of requirement. So you write the test first, you test first, and then you see that no, your code is not written for the first time. When you write the code, you test the test again, test the test case again, and then improve your code, find and fix defects, and go forward. That's the basically overall idea of the test driven development, functional driven development, or behavior driven development. Let's try to explore what are the benefits of agile. Jeff Bezos once said, the most important single thing is to focus obsessively on the customer. Our goal is to be Earth's most customer centric company. So idea is that when we talk about agile, customer is put in the center of the request. We design everything around our end customer. How can we provide value to customer? It's not only how can we provide value to customer, but how can we provide early in the game, value early in the game. Customer-centric organizations produce lifetime value of customer, end up having happy customers, engaged and motivated employees. Before I dive into the benefits of Agile, it is important to understand that we organize our value around the customer and motivated employees. So Agile gives us that flexibility wherein we do everything around customers and our employees. We have talked about customers in the past, but the employees are also an important part of the organization. So that's the reason the focus of the Agile should be on the happy customers and motivated employees. Let's explore some of the examples and benefits of the Agile. It's basically a good model wherein we see that no changes are rapidly coming. Whereas as compared to waterfall, wherein we see that no changes are fixed, if we see organization, and most of the organization in the world right now, they change rapidly. And it is also an opportunity to inculcate a new and enhanced culture wherein we see that there are self-organizing teams. Team is taking the ownership. Product is developed around customer. The value is prioritized. The features are prioritized. So it's, as I discussed earlier, it's a customer-centric approach, whereas customer is kept at the center before all planning and decision making is done. Once this is done, we try to understand the customer and what is needed by the customer, how fast is needed by the customer. So that's the reason it's a customer centric approach. Keeping customer at the center will be able to make good decisions for the customer. Another advantage for customer is customer do not have to wait long to see the product. With each sprint, they can see the intermediate product as part of the working increment delivered as part of that sprint. As we talked about, incremental development maximize value for the end customer, because when they see the incremental product building up, and during the sprint review sessions, which I'll be talking about in the next few videos, that when they see the feedback, the intermediate product in the sprint review, they provide feedback. If they are not satisfied with the product being developed, they provide the feedback then and there. And that's the reason, that's the way that we can maximize value for the end customer. This also gives us an opportunity to identify customer needs around. As I've talked about earlier, customer is the center. Customer is put in center in Agile. So when we talk about customer needs, then when customer needs are put in center, we explore potential solution and deliver the value to the customer any way we can. Continuous market sensing, by keeping a close watch on the market and by having the regular interactions with the customers, we know that how market is changing and how it can add more value to the customer. And then as per those market changes, Agile provides us the ability to respond to the market changes and emerging opportunities with innovative business solutions. Reduce the lead time required to deliver the product and high quality. So we see that we deliver working increment every sprint, and it's basically a decision of the product owner that when he thinks that the product is releasable to the end customer, we don't have to wait for complete product to build up. So that's the reason we say that it reduces the lead time. It's a flow-based approach, wherein if we say that flow is built up, let's say using 2 or 3 sprints, then that flow can be reduced, can be released to the end customer. So that's where we try to reduce the lead time for the end customer. Innovative product and solutions. Innovative product and solutions comes when we are actively engaged to understand customer, to take their feedback through an incremental cycle. And that's how the innovative products are built, because customer may not think about all their requirements upfront, but when they see the output as a part of the product increment in the each sprint, it may also give them an idea to change something in the product, which can provide more value to their end customers. So that's one of the way that we can provide innovative product and services. It's an ability to continually deliver innovative, high quality products and service faster than the competition. It's important in the today's changing world that how competition is doing. And if competition is producing something, then our faster time to market is to beat the market, to beat the competition. So it provides us a way to deliver the product increment faster in the market. It may not be the case that we have built up the complete product, but if we know the flow, which is basically highly prioritized product roadmap and high priority features are developed, then a quick MVP can be released. MVP, minimum viable product, can be released to the customer. In Agile, also we'll have to ignore cost. Sometimes it may happen that we have tried and tested something. We have developed a feature and we have provided a review to the end customer at the end of the sprint. Customer may or may not like it, but all we are losing is 2 weeks of development effort. So sometimes if it makes sense to the customer, if it makes for the sense to add more value to the customer. Sometimes this it may happen that no, it has not come up as an expected output by the customer. So it's a good idea to ignore sunk cost and move forward. Ability to apply lean principles to understand, map, and continuously improve the business process. Why we talk about lean principles? Wherever waste can be reduced in the agile, we find out ways to eliminate that waste so that day to day we are only working on continuously providing value, and that in terms provide the improvement in the business processes. Agile teams, we have, as we have talked about it, the focus is either on customer, or in fact I should say is focus is mostly on the customer as well as the motivated employees. So we build self-organized, highly motivated team, they who commit together, execute together, and retrospect together. Organized around value. Organized around value to deliver more quickly, and when market and customer demands change, the enterprises must adapt quickly and seamlessly to reorganize that around that new value flow. So first of all, the idea is that always organize your product development around the actual value to be produced, and better to prioritize that value so that we can break up and we can deliver the high priority value up front. And if something changes because of market conditions, because of customer demands, we should be ready to adapt the changes and reorganize around the new value suggested by the customer. We commit to a small batches of work, because if we are committing to a big batch of work taking a lot of time in the development, we don't want to build in a small waterfall within the agile. So commit to a small batch of work. We have talked about the WIP limits, work in progress limits, as part of the Kanban board. So we commit to a small batch of work, we apply the WIP limits, and we shorten the feedback cycles. So as a part of that, what would happen is we get quick feedbacks, and when we get quick feedbacks, we apply them quickly to adapt to the feedback and produce a high quality value for the customer. Early use of application provide valuable learning. The faster we release, either for the customer or for the end consumers, the quick MVPs that we release for the customer, it gives an opportunity for the product as well as for the enterprise to learn something from that. What can we change? How can we make it better? So earlier use of application or earlier deployment of the application to production provides a valuable learning to us. Risks. Risks of failure, which is a major cause of concerns for any product development team. They are reduced because of regular interactions with the customer, because we are producing value in the production so often, and we are learning from them, learning and adapting from that situation and making the product better. Increased focus on business value by involving stakeholder in development. When we involve our end customer or the stakeholders in development, we always focus around the business value. The end customer want to see that what business value is delivered as part of the product increment every sprint. So team learn to organize around the business value as part of the sprint ceremonies and involvement of the stakeholders. Focusing features on the needs of the end customers. When we understand the need of the end users, we try to reorganize our product roadmap, whether it's epics, features, stories, around the need of the end users. And it's not only that, we see that what are the pressing needs of the end users. Accordingly, we prioritize our roadmap in such a way that high prioritized value, which are the pressing needs for the end customers, are developed first. It reduces development cost, because we know that when we are basically trying to find out the lean ways or eliminating waste, when elimination of waste is done, then we are not spending a lot of effort in building that product, which will not be of either use for the end customer or for the end users. Faster ROI. In one of my earlier video, I've shown an example of how agile versus waterfall, a faster ROI is returned. Return of investment is returned to the customer. And the market says agile is around 37% faster to market and in terms of the faster ROI. We have explained that in an earlier video. By using time boxed activities, achieve early and predictable deliveries. Time boxed because meetings are sometimes a pain to the complete development team and the business team. So by keeping these ceremonies time boxed, we give time for developer and the product team to think and to work on their daily activities, and it helps us in early and predictable delivery. It's a demand driven development. We have not committed to a scope upfront and then we are working on that scope. What we are in fact doing is we are understanding the demand of the customer by keeping customer in the center, and then we are developing our product based on that customer demand. Early and frequent value delivery in a project increase momentum and lower risk. So frequent value delivery and early in the game, that basically increase the momentum, and the risk of failure is drastically reduced because we are not only producing that value early, we are discussing that value with all our stakeholders in the sprint review, and in the first opportunity we are releasing that value in production to our end users. Designed to change and evolve. Agile technology, agile methodology is designed to change and evolve, and we welcome the changes. Brings usable feature to user earlier. So as we have talked about it, right? That we are getting and organizing the value around the customer. So we are trying to bring the usable features to the users, which are high priorities, or we have talked about some of the pressing needs of the customer. We are trying to produce those usable features to the customer or the end users earlier in the game. Agile approach is aimed at faster implementation of any product. That's as we discussed that, as a part of the iterative development, when we prioritize all our features, then the low prioritized features goes at the bottom of the product backlog, and high prioritized feature are developed faster. And then we learn from that by implementing them in production. We learn from customer behavior. How are they using that? What else can be added to that? Agile approach to software development is more flexible. When we say flexible, it means not only from the delivery, but from the planning. We meet and plan every 2 weeks or within a sprint. We do our sprint planning. We do our retrospective to adopt changes. We basically are flexible to get the feedback from the customer. We are flexible to hear the ideas or the retrospective outcomes from our peers, and we are flexible to include that in our daily process. Basically, that makes this agile software development as a flexible approach. Customers seeing the work in progress in exchange for added benefit of transparency. 100% transparency to customer. Just within 2 weeks, everything is being told to customer. And as a part of sprint review, it's not only the working increment is being shown to the customer. We also discuss about what are the next set of priorities for the next sprint. What would make sense for us to develop in the next sprint? So 100% transparency is given to the customer, and they see the work in progress each sprint as a part of the value increment. Little planning required upfront as compared to the waterfall. In this, we do planning. We do sprint planning as a part of enterprise initiative. We do PI planning, but we do a little planning for 2 weeks so that we can proceed and plan and develop for the 2 weeks. Then we meet again and we do planning again. So little planning in the short phases is required as a part of the agile. Prioritize features developed and released first. We talked about it after understanding the customer, because customer is in the center of the agile. When we understand that what are the prioritized features that would be beneficial for the customer, those are prioritized and developed first and released first to the customer, so that we are not waiting for the complete product to be developed and those prioritized features are released to the customers upfront in the game. We learn from customer behavior and then we adapt, and then we are flexible to modify some of the product behaviors as per the learning. Evolving architecture and design. We see that in today's market, technology is changing at a very fast pace. Hence the need of change in the architecture and design. So we don't keep a frozen architecture and design. As and when we learn from the market, as in when we learn from the end users, as in when we learn from the customer behavior, we keep on evolving our architecture and design. Use objective measures of progress, more relevant metrics. Rather than producing big status report, we focus around the objective measures of progress, and thus the more relevant metrics comes into picture. As part of metrics, some of the examples of the metrics are what is my velocity, what is my burn up chart, what is my burn down chart for the project. Regular communication and collaboration of ideas. It's like innovate like startup, think like startup. You are a part of that startup. When you become engaged in such a level, then product becomes your own. Then you think like a startup as if it's your own startup company. And then in this collaboration and the communication plays a major role as part of that, and that brings value for the end customer. Flow based delivery model. Until unless a flow is established as part of the feature developed or feature prioritized within the product roadmap, customer would not get anything. So it's always organized around the flow. How we are providing an end-to-end flow as part of the MVP, minimum viable product, to our end customer. Expect and support change. In this, team expects a change. Team understand that as part of review, as part of retrospective, as part of planning, we may get change as per the customer priorities or the discussions that have happened till now. And teams support that change in place of pushing them back. Agile preserves the interest of all stakeholders in a project. We have talked about it. It's not only that we are focusing on the customers, we are also trying to do everything to keep our team motivated. There are two set of stakeholders involved: customers, business team, product team, and which comes in one bucket. And the second bucket is organized around the development team. So it's not only that we see the interest for the stakeholders, which include business team, product team, and end customer, but we see also the interest of the development team, and we keep them motivated. Faster time to market and thus higher revenue. The faster you are able to produce your product to the market or a MVP to the market, you may start getting the revenue earlier in the game. I have talked about that in my one of my earlier video, wherein I have talked about waterfall to agile, what is the ROI, how revenue, cost, and uh, everything is impacted. More control on product development. When we say control, control is not a good word in agile, but why we have talked about control here is that we know that not all the features in the product needs to be developed right now. We keep on prioritizing the feature, we keep on getting the feedback, and that's how it gives a good feeling to the product owner that he has more control on the product development by reprioritizing and reorganizing the features around the customer feedback and the need. Product owner has a first-hand overview of every stage of the product development because he is actively involved. He is one such stakeholder who is involved with the development team all the time. Not only with the development team, he is involved with the end customer, the stakeholders, business team, to understand what makes sense for us, for the team to develop for them. Daily stand-up calls give chance to review and discuss the work progress. Other than just producing status report, stakeholder meet to discuss what they have done and what are the impediments they are facing. This is basically one of the forum wherein team can talk with courage without any fear, and they are open to talk about what have been done and how what kind of help do they need to focus or help with the impediments. Rapid feedback from users increases the usability and quality of the product. Because we are engaging our customer in each sprint review, we are getting the feedback from them. It doesn't only improve the quality of the product, but the usability as well. Because when we think of the requirement, we don't know what product will end up with. But when we see the working increment, we say, oh, maybe it can be usable more this way. My end customers are of my end my end users are of this skills. So basically, let's make it usable in this way. So we get a lot of feedback, which are not only increase the quality of the product, but also the usability of the product. Ability to scope the scope creep. Scope creep will not happen because each sprint review we are talking with the customer, showing them the product increment and talking about what features are being prioritized for the upcoming sprint. So that doesn't give any way for scope creep to happen in the agile. But transparency and making sure that the all these stakeholders are present in the relevant ceremonies is the key to success. Improved quality of the end product. As we are producing work increment, getting the feedback, building in quality. We have talked about test driven development. Everybody is responsible and taking the ownership as a team, not only the end customer who is providing the feedback. Team is thinking about the innovative ways to build in quality in the product. That's the reason Agile promotes and says that no, it results in the improved quality of the end product. Reduced cost of bug fixing. When team is self-organized and they are finding innovative ways of producing a better product, they spend their effort to build in quality, so bugs are less. And even if there are defects or the feedback, customer feedback can also be taken as a defect. If there are defects in the system, team support those changes, takes up those in the upcoming sprint, and try to fix that. Most of the work, if stories are defined in this sprint, teams development, the DOD criteria, the definition of done, basically makes team responsible to fix those stories defect within the sprint so that there are less defects produced. Focuses on clear communication and collaboration with stakeholders. So as we talked about it, there are many ceremonies like in sprint planning, product owner is always involved. Sprint review, all the other stakeholders are involved. Sprint retrospective, we talk about what can be improved within the team. So increase collaboration from the customer, basically produce and focus, more results for the end customer. Higher level of employees engagement. So we wanted to talk something about the team. So all of the rest of the slides will be talking around the team, because other than customer, we talked about the team as the focus. We want to keep our teams also motivated. So higher level of employees engagement commits to delivering consistently high standard of work and frequent reassessment to make the product better. So when employees are engaged, we can always expect a high standard of work, and we do reassess as part of reviews, retrospective, and team tries to make their product better day by day. They work as a team, resulting improved teamwork and morale. When we have good team, when we see team work around all the motivated employees and their morale is high, the end product is always produced as of high quality. Teams are self-organized. Nobody tells them what to do. That's the beauty of the agile. That it's not like a boss telling the team what to do. Teams are self-organized when they attend all these ceremonies, when they understand what do our customer need, when they understand the customer feedback, they self-organize themselves to implement that feedback or the value for the customer themselves. Better division of work between the team members. So sprint goals are crafted as part of sprint planning, which basically bind the team together. And team helps each other to meet that sprint goal. And the better division of work, because everybody takes a part of the sprint goal in order to meet the sprint goal at the end of the sprint cycle. Increase team sense of responsibility. Since team is getting visibility of anything and everything around the customer world, that what makes sense, the feedback is not coming to them second hand. They are attending these sprint review ceremonies to understand what are the pain areas. So whatever product we have developed or increment we have developed for the customer, does it make sense for the customer? What is customer saying about it? What are stakeholders saying about it? What is their feedback? So team is open to accept that feedback and develops a sense of responsibility of producing a better product. Teams actively involved and make the working place more enjoyable with their involvement, collaboration, and cooperation. What is that? I mean, teams should be excited to come to work daily. So when we make that working place enjoyable, it's not taken as a burden to work daily, but team comes with a full excitement that no, this is the value that I'm going to add to my customer by doing this work today. So this transparency or this overall involvement of the team makes the working place more enjoyable for them. promotes teamwork and cross training. When we say that no, there are impediments, team help each other. They help each other learn. If something is not, some skills are absent, then team work and train each other on those skills and help them meet the sprint goal, because that's the collective team goal that we have, collective ownership. And as part of collective ownership, because everyone understands these stories, everyone is a part of the daily scrum to understand what impediment have come. So anybody's absence of or presence does not block the sprint goal, because if somebody is absent today, everybody have heard about the work consistently in the daily scrum. Everybody have seen, what kind of planning was done. Everybody has groomed and understood that story. So anybody can pick up their task and move forward. Any developer can add functionality, fix errors, improve designs, or refactor, because code is not owned by one team or individual. So that feeling of I'm a developer, I'm a designer, I am a tester goes away. Feeling of that you are doing that work, I am doing this work goes away, because everybody or anybody, when the work in progress limits are deployed, anybody can help anyone in the team to make sure that no, we are progressing with those tasks. Better team alignment on priorities. Team mostly is confused that no, what's the priority for me for the day? Most of the time team member have this question that I'm not clear what I need to do for next 10 days. But Agile provides us that clarity, wherein those kind of priorities are being clear to the team to work on as part of sprint planning, as part of DSU. They get that alignment from everyone. Increase employees productivity and satisfaction. Happy employees contributes to increased productivity and employee satisfaction. Ballpark, it is seen that increase in the productivity by 16 to 26% when the employees are motivated, they are enjoying their work, they are happy in the work, and it's basically producing good value and output for the customer. Well, that's what I wanted to cover as part of this, Agile. Thank you so much for your time today.